Oh, good.
So, Jimmy, first impressions of Runcorn in the studio?
I mean, when this place is finished, guys, it's going to be incredible. It's it's got a real sort of frat house feel to it. I feel like we should be reviewing pornography.
We often
before. Right. Wow. Okay.
Great.
Well, news. I feel good about myself. I feel like I'm better than this, and that's a good marker. It's nice for you to have me here, I guess, is the best we could say.
You are the first Comic-Con where it feels like, do you know what? We're doing well here.
Yeah, most comics come on and go, bloody hell, guys, you've bought your own couch.
Yeah.
And you're questioning life decisions that got you here.
Yeah. I mean, no, listen, I was up in Manchester for that. It's a pleasure to be here. It's very nice to see you. So what's going on? What do we normally do on this podcast? I mean, obviously, I've not listened to it. I think that much is very clear. Talk me through it. What's the premise of this podcast?
So the MO of this podcast from day one was, let's try and be the funniest podcast. So if I can make Dan Nightingale laugh and he can make me laugh, two comics, miserable comics,
right,
and people at home be pissing themselves laughing.
Right, that's the premise, is it?
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you know how you do. The MO sounds great in your accent as well. A little bit of Latin there. A little bit of Latin. The modus operandi. The modus operandi of this podcast.
I'm not Welsh.
That's how you sound to me.
It started well.
Yeah, it started well and then tailed off horribly.
It's hard to compete with Scouse accents on this podcast because most of us have got one, and then he's got the best Scouse accent in the non-Scouse game.
It's taken me ages to get that. Like,
I can only do it on certain phrases. I can do, I want some chicken and I can cook you dick. I can do that. I can do.
Not bad.
The dick bit was good.
It seems that's the difference between Manchester and Liverpool, essentially. That in Manchester it's knob.
Yeah,
knobhead,
you fucking
and then dickhead. It's you go dick, they go knob.
What you got?
Huh?
What's yours?
Vagina. If I had to describe my vagina, I'd say it's an outie. It's different down south. We're very polite to each other. No, sorry. So where are we? Runcorn. It sounds made up.
It does.
It sounds like something from the Ruttles.
It's Liverpool's arsehole.
Yeah. If Britain needed an enema, this is where it goes in.
Yeah.
Is it kind of woolly back country? I used to play.
Yeah. That's exactly where you are.
There used to be a venue around here years ago that I used to play. I remember
Brindley.
What, sorry?
Was it the Brindley Theatre?
I don't know. I'm just trying to think of the name of the town even, but it was real. They were woolly backs. I remember that. I had no idea what the derivation was, but if you said woolly back on stage, they were very happy.
Everyone from Runcorn tells people who aren't from Liverpool that they're from Liverpool.
Mm.
So if you're from Runcorn and you go on holiday, I'm a Scouser. Until they meet a Scouser.
I suppose it's that thing though, where it's just like it's not enough. Like if I go to America and someone goes, "You're where are you from?" London. It's like anyone from Edinburgh to Cardiff goes, "Yeah, near enough." I guess. I guess you go. Well done.
Where are you actually from?
I'm from sort of Slough, Irish immigrant parents from, and then I was kind of born in West London, but I would have been like a plastic paddy. But I don't really read like that, so I think people kind of assume I'm a public school boy because I'm quite well spoken. But I mean, compared to you lads, who fucking isn't? But I read as like a public school boy, but I went to the local school in Slough.
You went to the local private school.
The local private school. Well, no, the local private school would have been Eton. I went to Burnham Grammar, which is on the big estate in Slough. So what happened with Slough, passingly interesting, is they cleared the slums of London. When they cleared the slums, they didn't just kill those poor people, they moved them to Slough. They should have killed them,
I think Runcorn is basically a northern Slough then. It's a similar vibe.
What? Because did they clear the slums?
I think that's there was a massive migration from Liverpool to Runcorn.
Yeah, and it was like you're all going to have a house and a garden,
but we don't have Eton just round here. There's no. There isn't the equivalent. Because near Slough, there's Eton round here.
There is, Eton Rifles, the great Jam song about the fight down there. It's cheek by jowl with that sort of stuff. There's lots of posh stuff around there, but it's reasonably rough. But I suppose it was never that rough. I grew up sort of there in the 80s, and even though it was kind of a rough time for Britain, I think it was kind of full employment there because it's got a massive industrial estate. So everyone I knew, all their dads worked on the industrial estate. So I grew up sort of in the shadow of the Mars factory.
Yeah,
quite a nice way to grow up.
I've been to Slough. It all feels like an estate.
Everything smells like chocolate because it's like you're kind of being gassed by Mars. It's all right.
See, right next to this is a massive like power plant.
Yeah.
So whatever you can smell around here is toxic shite.
Killing you. Right.
I know
Yeah.
there is a really worrying like siren that goes off occasionally, which
Yeah.
we've still
don't even know what it
not
is.
found out. It's like all the locals go, get inside. Jesus Christ, the siren. So we just breathe that in.
Yeah.
Welcome. Thanks for coming.
I'm not sure I should be here. But I guess we're doing this.
Yeah, so
Jimmy's going to be looking for a new agent on Monday morning.
Well, listen, this is I viewed this as charitable. So what else goes on the podcast? What else are we talking about?
We talk about our lives, our girlfriends, our wives, our childhood.
You've got a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Wow.
She's lovely as well.
Really?
Yeah.
And what is it? Is it low self-esteem on her part? Or?
Other men have treated her like shit, and now she's made a visual compromise.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I could see that. Okay. That story
that's how it
checks
works
out.
for nearly every comedian, though, eh?
She's looked at me like she's buying a house at auction. She's going to do me up, and then in a few years, I'll be a bargain.
Right. And then you'll move on.
Yeah.
And you'll move on to someone else.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
I used to hit glass ceiling.
What does she do?
She is the admin for a building.
No, I
firm.
meant sexually. Where does she draw the line?
Ooh,
No, sorry, I
Vagina.
meant what she do.
Vagina.
The admin for a.
a building firm.
I don't know how. I'm so out of touch with regular jobs now. When I chat to people in the audience, I just sort of I'm full of awe that anyone could turn up and do that.
Yeah, so me and Carl were talking about this recently. Like, as soon as you start getting paid as a comic and you do the odd TV thing or a big show, or even if you're just a club circuit comic, when you hear what your mates from school are on like hourly wages, it just, you can't get your head right. Like, I could never, ever, ever. I think I'd have to kill myself if comedy stopped existing.
It's a weird one with, I don't know whether I can relate fully, but like when you become a success in comedy, I think it's much earlier than people think. I think people think you're a success when you're on telly or something, or when you're playing arenas or whatever their perception is of like, oh, that's showbiz success. But actually, as a comic, from my point of view, it's like, I remember playing the Comedy Store on a Saturday and doing the early and the late show and doing the banana cabaret in between and getting paid in cash. And I went, I mean, I've absolutely made in the shade. I'm literally living off my wits. It's enough for me.
Yeah,
I loved it.
I remember getting a hotel paid for me. And I was like, hey, that felt like making it. Just getting a paid gig and also having them, of course, we're going to put you
I
up.
hadn't assumed you'd made it yet. I was just telling you what it's like.
Your version of making it, that I've got there. There's degrees.
But it is interesting, that thing of like, it's quite early on because you sort of go, well, I'm sort of doing what I want to do anyway. So anything in the way of financial gain sort of comes into it. And then you go, it's that Faustian pact that lots of our friends have made of like going, we get to live to work, and they work to live. It strikes me that there's quite a lot of jobs that are quite analogous with comedy, where you go, actually, if they didn't pay you, you would do this anyway. Like people that get to be footballers, obviously, it's something where they live to work. But I think that's the reason I wrote a book recently, and kind of half of it's about that, about like, how do you find that thing that's your thing? It doesn't have to be comedy, it doesn't have to be show business or sports, but everyone's got something that kind of makes their heart sing, and is, you want work to be more fun than fun.
Yeah. I remember I used to work in a bar in Liverpool, and a couple of years after I left, and I'd been doing stand-up full-time for maybe like a year, 18 months, and they asked me to go back and sort of run a show there. And a lot of the lads who I worked with at the time still worked on the bar, and they were at the show and watched it, whatever. And then I got paid in cash afterwards. I think I got like 250 quid. I mean, Make was like, just so I know, how much did you get for tonight? And I was like, oh, 250 quid. And he was like, you used to have to work on that bar for 30 hours to get what you've just got for having fun.
Yeah,
Fucking around.
and then the other layer of that is, like Jimmy said, you would have done the gig for free because comedy is a load of fun, and it's basically what we enjoy doing. If you can then get paid and get put up, it's a bonus, isn't it?
I mean, money's kind of a weird thing. People spend an awful lot of time putting in the hours to make money. So let's put those keys somewhere safe. They spend a lot of time trying to make money, to buy things, to impress people they don't give a fuck about. It's like that's the whole of our Western economy is based on that. And money is like, there's a great quote by Lord Byron, who had the good sense to be born rich, that money is a magic lamp. You have to know what to wish for. Sort of who gives a fuck about money? It's like, what do you want to do with it? I had a friend called Alonzo Bowden. You know Alonzo Bowden? He's a great American comic. Really, like, always got new shit. Every time I see him, he's got 40 minutes of new shit. It's great.
I've heard him mentioned on the American podcast.
He's great. He's always around, yeah. His line was like, what do you want to do that you can't do because of money? It's like people spend their lives kind of chasing it. And you go, what do you want to do?
Do you know what I want?
What do you want to be?
I want stuff.
Stuff.
I want all the stuff.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want a bigger telly, a nicer car, more trainees.
I was wondering if you could be more Scouse, but it seems I'm trying making a profound point about the nature of consumerism.
And it still makes Sam.
I want a bigger telly.
Yeah.
I want a bigger telly.
And it still makes Sam work at a fucking builder's doing the like business admin.
It is a weird thing though, isn't it? The analogy of the bigger telly is a really good one, I think, because you go, yeah, I want a bigger telly, and you go, man, what do you want to watch on it? What are you gonna see? Because that's the important thing is what you're gonna see on it.
I want to be playing FIFA and to feel like I'm on like the second row at Anfield.
Right.
Like watching a full-size man play FIFA.
But playing FIFA?
Yeah.
You want to play a game?
Yeah.
Why?
I really like it.
It's a good question.
I think you and Jimmy have different dreams.
It's just a diversion, isn't it? It's like it's something to do while you're waiting for something real to happen.
No, it's something to do when she's gone to bed and I'm bored and...
That's what the pornography's for.
Yeah, but there's only so many times before your dick just gets sad.
Right. Sure.
Especially if
I never got into video games, but I played them a couple of times. I remember going around to a friend's house and playing Call of Duty with my mate and just thinking, this is so good, I'm never going to play it again. Because I just thought, I want to write a new Edinburgh show and I want to do this thing that I found this comedy thing.
Yeah.
And this feels like it's been designed like the Matrix to waste my fucking time.
Oh, 100%.
It's like the idea of the dopamine, the idea that you could just go, I could just play this game and it's so good and I will get this sense of achievement in finishing this game. But really, the fuck am I doing?
And when was that? That was because they've evolved beyond that as well now. So they'll be even better.
I mean, I'm sure. I think this was like Call of Duty, the first one.
The first call.
I think it came out around the time of World War One.
Right.
For any younger listeners. I mean, it was really...
You actually be in the trenches to play it.
Yes, we used to have like an immersive version where people would join up. That's how we're going to have to explain it in the future.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it. You know, like, obviously the priority is what you do, but then if you make a little bit of money around it, we've got a friend of ours who just bought a Lamborghini, and I've heard it commented, what the fuck are you buying a Lamborghini? Why not? Go for it.
Well, you've
made the money doing something you love. You've banked it.
Well, I'll stop you at the why not, and I'll tell you why not. Because it's what does he want? Like the most important question in life, I think, the absolute fundamental in any given situation is what do you want? And I bet you, dollars to donuts, that guy wants excitement in his life.
Yeah.
And he wants status. But he doesn't want a fucking Ferrari. Or a Lamborghini, whatever the sports car is. The signifier is not the signified. So the guy's gone, right, I've got a lot of dumb shit, by the way. I'm someone, I fucking roll deep. I've got all of that shit. At least I know that shit is like, it's fairly meaningless because it's not the excitement that you want. I remember having a sports car like when I used to work for an oil company. And it mattered then because I didn't have any excitement in my life. And then you become a comic and you go, no, I'm on the fucking adventure. I don't need the shit now because life is the shit.
Yeah, but what's the thing you've got? What's the biggest thing you've got that is meaningless, but you just wanted it? Like that guy, our mate Paul's just bought a Lamborghini, a bright orange one, like, a lunatic.
Yeah. I got a nice DB6 from the late 60s. That's a nice piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very beautiful car, but I mean, it's fucking point. I mean, it comes with an AA truck. I've never taken it out. I occasionally will take it to a gig and like you just go, I'll phone my missus and she'll just go, where are you? I'll go, yeah, I'm on the hard shoulder, love. It's not. It didn't like it. It was too moist a day. Like it just doesn't like being driven.
You've got to drive that like a hot air balloon. You've got to have all the conditions right.
I now watch old movies and you see like James Bond get in the car and drive off and you go, no way.
Bullshit.
No ways that started first time. You'd be getting Blofeld to go, yeah, have you got any jump leads? Because the thing is, this isn't going anywhere.
That's going to be your thing, isn't it? Once you've you finish your mortgage and obviously this is growing unbelievably
Have you still got mortgages?
Oh, fuck you, Jim.
I rent my house.
It's not even
no, I just think it's adorable.
Do you know what happened? Do you know what happened yesterday? My porch broke yesterday. I don't know whether you knew porches could break.
Not Porsche.
The front porch, the ceiling caved in because it rained a bit. That's where I live. The back door currently doesn't open because I'm waiting for the landlord to buy a new back door because it's broke. So every time I want to take a bin out, I have to do a lap of the estate. Yes, and by estate,
I feel like I'm on a bus. I feel like I'm overhearing a conversation on a bus. I've worked really hard to avoid this conversation.
That's what we've booked you for getting to Chester later.
So what dumb shit would you? Okay, so dumb shit we would buy, right? Stuff. What would you buy?
Porsche.
What's the thing?
I do want a Porsche. I'd like a Porsche.
I got a really nice Porsche. I got a nice. I got a '96 Porsche. Are you into cars?
A 911.
Yeah, it's a 911, but it's the Targa, and it's the last of the G5 gearbox when it was still air cooled. I think it's the last one you could drive. I think after that they drive you.
Right, and can you drive it? Like the DB6 is a beautiful, but doesn't work well. Does the Porsche actually?
Well, I mean, the DB6 you can drive. I mean, all joking aside, it's magnificent. It sounds fantastic. But yeah, you can drive it. Yeah, I mean,
so I want something where, because I'm not a particularly good driver, I want something that everyone goes, oh, that's nice, and I feel good, and it's got a little bit of. But if I put it in a tree, I'm not weeping. I'm like, oh, that's annoying. I can't spend like that Lamborghini. I don't know what that orange Lamborghini. I'm guessing that's about 150 grand. Oh, come on. I can't do that. I can't do that. That's too... I'd be shitting it.
Not comfy either. Have you ever driven those cars? They're not... It's not good for your lumbar.
I did one on like a race day.
You got your little paddock.
Yeah. I got to do 2 laps in Derby of a racetrack. I got given like an experience gift for Christmas off an ex-girlfriend, and I got to drive a Lamborghini.
Off an ex-girlfriend?
Yeah.
Was she your girlfriend at the time?
Yeah.
Oh, that makes more sense. She wasn't going, I'll tell you how shit a driver he is. I'm going to get in 2 laps of this thing, he'll fucking kill himself. Yeah. Good.
Never accept experience days from your exes. Parachuting. Enjoy that one, cunt. When you worked for the oil company...
Yes.
Did you start comedy in and around like the early 30s, about 30?
No, I was about 25, 26.
Okay.
25, yeah.
Because I was a sound tech at the Hyena in Newcastle when you came up to do a weekend 20 years ago, about 2001, start of 2002.
So would that have been with Brendan Burns, that kind of era, Dave Johns?
Dave Johns was comparing.
Yeah, okay.
And he did a... now, how do I do this now? I know Dave, so we can do this properly. But when he compared, if he was in a mood, he could be quite a selfish compare and do a fucking chunk. And you, I think, were closing.
Right.
And there was a little sort of dressing room next to the stage. And it was when you were using a clipboard. It was part of like and I think he did about half an hour before he brought you on to close. And my memory of that weekend is you leaning out of the dressing room just going, what the fuck is going on? What the fuck is going on? Because I think Dave Johns has got it in his head that you were like doing quite well and you're like on the way up. So he was going to prove to everyone.
Though, he was fucking right.
When was the last time you played the Hyena?
Try and fucking slow me down. He was doing God's work.
Was that when you were He's
a good guy. I used to get on very well with Dave. And
the first time we met was at a gig for Dave.
Him and Mickey Hutton used to be sort of really good kind of Newcastle guys. I knew Ross from way back. Kind of my first sort of Edinburgh. Ross was very good to me. Ross Noble. And they were good guys.
When was your first Edinburgh? About 90?
It would have been 99. I would have gone up there to have a look around. And then 2000 would have been I went up there with Ricky Gervais, Steve Merchant, and Robin Ince. We did like a 4-hander at the. It was a pretty good show called Rubbernecker, and then I went up the next year and did a solo show, and called Barefaced Ambition. Next show I would have been 2002. Got nominated for the Perrier. I went up, but I did maybe 10 years in a row, new show every year, and then kind of started touring. It became a little bit. I don't know. There was like the vibe I got was like, it's not for you anymore. It's like, okay, you've had your go in the sun. You're touring now. Leave it for someone else.
So that's what you did with the Fringe. On the way up, you used it, and then just.
I think so, yeah, because I think actually, friends that have gone back and played very big rooms.
The conference centre.
You kind of go, well, yeah, you can do that, and you take a few quid off the table, but actually, it's not really about that. Although I do think there's an argument for having really big comics at the Edinburgh Fringe
because it draws them.
You're the marijuana. You're the gateway drug. You're the thing that leads them into... Because you can't expect people to take a chance on 4 new comics they've never seen before. So you go, well, there's one person that they know, guaranteed, right, I've seen him on telly, I love him, I'll go and see him, and then I'll go and see her and him because I've seen them on something, and then I'll take a chance on 3 new ones.
It's also why the American comedy club circuit sort of works in a different way as well, because they have a headliner, don't they, who is on like a lot more than the rest of the bill, and the rest of the bill of support acts on the way up. But comedy clubs across America on the road and stuff are often packed because there's a guy who's been on all sorts, and he's certainly can sell a few hundred tickets a weekend. Whereas over here, the club circuit,
yeah, I think
is largely
in the States, my experience is like people are on the club circuit for a lot longer. Like properly huge comics still play the clubs, and and make great money and get paid on a cut of the door and whatever. And it's because the system over there don't have the same theatre circuit that we have. So we've got art centres in every town, which are fantastic.
Every different size.
And then, so we've got like the 300, 400, 500 seater art centres, and then we go up to sort of the 900 to 1,200 seater theatres in every town in Great Britain. So we've got kind of a circuit above the circuit.
Yeah,
that you can kind of if you can get to that, it's really great. And then you're doing your own thing. You sort of set your own schedule and you're off to the races.
You mentioned before that like if I had money, I'd still make Sam work. She actually brought that up yesterday. So I announced my tour last week to do like around the UK, sort of the 400 seater menus you're talking about, slightly bigger in Liverpool, and it's just sold quite well because of this initially. And she
because of this,
yeah,
wow,
we're massive, Jimmy.
This is massive.
Yeah. This is the number 1 podcast in the country.
Is it?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it's
It
anything.
Doesn't, does it?
No.
But it is.
That's what we want.
We've got the number 1 Patreon on the planet in the UK.
On the planet in the UK, sure. This is the number 1 podcast in Runcorn. It's going to turn out.
We've been that since day 1, actually.
Yeah, sure.
We had a really good first day there.
Next door's doing great. So the tour sold out. So are you going to do bigger venues? Are you going to do another one off the back?
I don't know yet, because this is my 4th tour. The first 3 I did were sort of 100 to 200 seat venues, all sort of on the week of it, might sell out, always get about 60, 70% in. And it was just, I was putting them on to try and get used to that sort of thing. This one has just gone, like, it went on sale on Friday and it's like 70% sold or something immediately.
And when are you going on the road? When are you
February until May.
February until May?
Yeah.
These fucking lazy kids. Just, if you put a tour in, put a proper fucking tour in.
Well, I will when I host 8 out of 10 cats, Jimmy.
No, I like from the jump, I was doing like, 200 gigs. I mean, always like for the first couple of years, it was 300 a year was kind of the thing. And then I went down to, I'm now at like 200 gigs a year, something like that. But I like the idea of like, if you're a comic and you're working, just work.
Oh, yeah.
Like if it's sold out, if it's 70% now, all we do is add dates. So all my office do is like, as soon as it goes to 90, you go, right, just put in another one. I never want, like I ticket touts, I presume hate me. Yeah. I never met one, but I presume they do, because as soon as it sells out, I just go, I'm not going to up the prices. I'm just going to put another one on.
Are you not a believer in the bigger rooms? Is there a limit of what you'll do?
There's a limit to what I can do and it works. I think the medium is the message, right? I think there's that thing where you go, right, in a 3,000 seater, if someone has a fight at the back of the room, I know what's going on. If they shout out something, I can tell. If it's sometimes with a rock venue, even 3,000 is too much. So ideally for me, 1,500 to 2,000 is like perfect. I'm very happy to play, smaller rooms, 1,000 seaters or whatever, because it's like they're there. You can see everyone in the room. It feels like a proper experience. I don't mind doing the hard work. I think doing an arena feels like you're whispering into the abyss. It doesn't suit the medium of comedy. It doesn't feel like a conversation to me. It feels more like you're presenting something, and it's not like rock and roll. Rock and roll is very much like, it's charismatic. It's you come to me, and comedy's much more charming. It's I come to you.
Some of those arenas don't suit rock and roll. If you're in the back of a venue, even I went to see the Kings of Leon. I've said it before in here. You were watching people watch the Kings of Leon.
Yeah,
it's like I can only imagine what it would have been like to sit there for a comedian.
It's not a great. So I think that thing of like doing, actually, I mean, does it get any better? What's the dream number? And sometimes those smaller rooms can be really special, with the low ceiling, and it just feels. I think 1,000 is pretty, because of the theatre circuit we've got. It feels like that's where you want to get to. But then the trick is not to think everything's got to be better and bigger and more. Yeah. Bigger isn't necessarily better. It's enough.
Not at all. I remember listening to Tom Segura on an episode of one of his things, and he said he's doing this essentially an arena tour and 3, 4, and 5,000 seat places in America. He said, but when I come to film me special, I'm going to find a 1,200 seater that I like and do 4 shows and film them all, and that'll be where I film it because they're the best. That's when the show is at its best. I can do an arena because I can't turn up to whatever city he picks and just sell 1,200 tickets because there's 30,000 people who want to see me, and I can't do 30 dates in one place. So I do 3 nights at the arena at a 10,000 seater. But when I'm getting ready to film it and put it out and immortalize it, I pick a 1,200 seater that I love.
Yeah, I think it's like that thing of like going, how do you want your days to be?
Yeah.
You know, that thing of like, okay, so we've got very lucky lives. We're all, we're doing what we really enjoy, which is comedy. How do you want your days to be? And I want my days to be, well, I play a room that I really like playing and I feel like I'm in control of it. And I feel like when I've played those bigger rooms, when I've done things at, arenas, I kind of felt a bit out of control. I felt like the analogy I draw is on your toes and on your heels. So for the first couple of minutes of every gig, I feel like I'm on my toes. I'm really working it. I'm like, okay, got to get this audience. I'll tend to open up with like 20 one-liners, 20 really quite sharp, quick, quite staccato. And then when you sort of, there's a moment at which you feel like, okay, they've come to see me, they're enjoying this, they're laughing, the sound's good, the lighting's right, okay, and you're kind of back on your heels a little bit and you can kind of relax into the gig. Some nights you never get it. Some nights you never get, someone heckles at the wrong time and you're constantly sort of on it. And that can be great, but it's exhausting. And then some nights you feel like, oh, right, I've got them. This is great. It's like a really relaxed. And I feel like in those bigger rooms, you never get to that. It's just constantly, it's an anxiety. Maybe some comics find it easy. I don't know.
Can I ask you, when you're putting your new hour together, so we've spoke about this quite a bit, and like you mentioned before, sort of like, I should add more dates if it's selling out already, which absolutely will happen. On top of that, though, what I went to say before, I will never, ever not do the clubs. I like how sharp a comedy club keeps you. Going on a Saturday night in front of people who don't really know who you are at all, and you've got to win them over and stuff like that. I love doing that. When you're putting your new hour together, do you go back to comedy clubs or do you start in small art centres?
No, I do like art centres. I do like, it would be like maybe the first couple I do like in a maybe 150 seat venue, maybe in Soho, somewhere like that.
Yeah.
And sell the tickets cheap and just do. But if I'm trying new stuff, I tend to write quite a lot. So I'll probably try 60 minutes of new stuff.
Yeah.
So
are you notepad? Have you got it written out?
Notepad written out, long form, and I'll just go through the ideas. And you go, if it works in that with kind of zero delivery, you're onto something. Because it's.
Do you sell to your fans, or are you just sort of
to my fans? I mean, it would be to people that are predisposed to,
Okay.
Fans maybe is overstating it, but people that have gone, oh yeah, I'll go and see him do a work in progress. So it'd be messing around with, for an hour. Whereas I feel like a club is like, okay, it's an evening's gone and you've gone to the club and maybe you've done 20 minutes of new stuff. But I feel like you're not getting enough. Like I've got 4 nights off between now and Christmas, and I'll do previews on 3 of those. So I'll do previews for the new one because I'm going to I'll drop a special at Christmas, and then so the tour is going to be called the same thing, but it's going to be all new from Jan. It'll be all new stuff. So I've got like 400 new jokes to try. So I've tried quite a lot of it, and it's working. I'm trying to change up my style a little bit as well. I'm trying to keep it a little bit fresh. I'm sort of 20 years in, and I quite like...
a bit more storytelling, conversational.
Well, I mean, longer routines. I mean, storytelling's maybe a stretch for me because it's not my... I think you've got to lean into your edge, right? Jokes are kind of my love language. And I like the idea of sort of doing gags, but doing longer strings between 7 and 12-minute routines. That's where I feel sort of... the game is played. So I just want to kind of switch up. It's also just for the divilment of going, give yourself a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, I like that idea. So for a few years ago, I got told by someone you should be the comic you would pay to see. Or someone asked me, would I pay to see myself? And I said no. And they were like, so what the fuck are you doing then? And I was like, okay.
That's a really good, I mean, it's a great question, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like to be like, I remember going to see people early on and just thinking this really feels like it delivers in terms of going like, the one-liners, like, that thing, the sense when you go and see a show, you go, oh my God, I've got to remember that line. I've got to remember that. My mate would love that. Or I've got to tell that at work tomorrow. I've got to, that thing of like, it gives you something to take away. I always loved that. And I always kind of want there to be a turn of phrase in the show beyond the jokes that people go, I'm going to use that turn of phrase.
The sentence that people are going to tweet out of context to let you know they were at the show.
Yeah.
That bit.
And those lovely things of, I always like it on Twitter that night, sort of reading the thing of like, oh, that thing that only happened tonight. It's never going to happen again.
Yeah.
That, the 20% of it that feels a bit special.
Yeah, 100%.
And is that why? So you're going away from the joke format. You actually actively writing away from that and trying to
do stuff that's slightly larger routines about larger topics. So talking about like fatherhood, I'm writing I've got like a 15-minute block about fatherhood. I mean, it's made of one-liners. Everything's made of one-liners. That's the atom. But I'm trying to put it together in a different form so that it feels like it's not unrelated one-liner after unrelated one-liner.
Yeah.
And it's just trying to find a different kind of space on stage.
crowds responding to it well, or was
I've done like 3 previews of this stuff, and it's been really good. And it's I think it maybe allows you to push things even further because it's it kind of you're coming at things from like 3 different angles, and you're making sure that you've got like 7 or 8 different joke types within a routine.
Yeah.
So it's different flavors. Coming at something, it's fun.
It's like what I said to you last year. Over the past few years, I became a very opinionated comic, and I would sort of, in an Americanized style, I suppose, because I watch a lot of American comedy, as does Dan. I would present an idea and then sort of try and convince an audience that my take was right on it through jokes, sort of thing. But I got to a point I was like, I need a story, and also a lot of the time on this podcast, we're quite silly and just daft and just trying to make each other laugh. So I wanted like a silly bit as well. And that was like recently I sort of switched it up a bit, and I wrote a story about like trying to go to a doctor and struggling to get an appointment and stuff like that. And the routine is A, both a story, and B, bollocks, just silly stuff throughout it. And that mixed with the stuff I was already doing, it's just been working really nicely. And I think it's nice to sort of, as a comic, I'm going to do something different on this next bit.
Think about where we're from, right? Where, everyone's standing on the shoulders of giants, right? We're comics, and we're talking like that's always existed. We're from a world of variety. Right, variety was really the thing that built up the clubs and built up the theatres, variety shows. And even within, like my show is me on stage for 2 hours. But even within that, you want there to be plenty of variety. You want to have like the section where the audience are joining in, and I get people to text in, whatever now, because I found like some people, there's a subset of people that are really funny, but they don't want to shout out in a theatre. They just want to text in. So there's a whole like half-hour sequence where it's just messing with the audience and chatting to people, and it's kind of like doing real magic. Because it's like just being funny, just off the cuff, in real time, making up, and it could only happen that night.
So that's they text you on stage, or do they text you and then you look at them in the break?
We look at them in the interval. So it's kind of pre-show.
You're not reading off. And we've got another text through from a racist. Okay.
No, but it's really that's a really fun bit of the show. But that idea of like having variety within the show, so you go, there should be some really silly jokes and some juvenile stuff and some serious stuff.
It's the same in a 20-minute set. You know that certain jokes work well when at the start of the set you have something light, punchy, get to know you. Then you have it's the same. It's just an extended version of that, and then you extend that over 20, 25-year career. I'm sure when you go to write a new show, you want to say that like this style or subject matter that you're like, I did that. That you want some contrast, you want some
it's really
evolution.
Actually, when I think about it, when I write a joke, I know exactly where it's going to go in the set. I know immediately. Oh, right, that'll go at the end. That'll be in the end sequence. That's got that little pepper in it. That's going to be, or you go, that'll fit in somewhere that's just a little.
Why the pepper? What do you mean with the pepper? You mean it's one
spicy.
of the big? Yeah, okay,
spicy.
It's one of the daddy jokes.
I kind of think the
I don't know where that came from. I really regret saying one of the daddy jokes.
I think it works. It absolutely works. I think that your sense of humor is like your taste in food or your sexual preference. I don't think you get to choose your sense of humor. I think it chooses you. And I think some people like it spicy, some people like it kinky, and some people like edgy comedy. And I'm very lucky that I found an audience that like the same kind of comedy as me. So they come along and they want that stuff that's like, okay, you're not going to hear that anywhere else. And there's a really interesting balance of like the audience is a genius. The audience tells you what is and what isn't funny, and it tells you what is and what isn't acceptable.
Yeah.
Every time. And they know organically, like an audience of 50 people in an art center know, oh, that's okay. Oh, no, that's a bit much. And they'll respond in the same way as 3,500 people.
And do you lean into that when it's just you, it's your show? And do you have a fourth gear for like a corporate where it has to be not vanilla, but you have to take some of the sort of corners
the vanilla
off?
thing, I guess like for corporates and things now, I'm booked as scene. So if there's a corporate and they go, actually there's going to be, a lot of young children at this, so could you... fuck it, book someone else. But for
Don't put
TV, I
Jimmy Carr
TVs
for the
You're
christening.
offensive. TV's offensive, Jim.
TV is interesting because you're a guest in someone's home, ultimately. Like, you could say, well, people choose to watch 8 out of 10 Cats. But you go, no, they don't. Some households have just got the TV on. It's like background noise the whole time and there's kids there or whatever. So you've got but that's really a producer's job. I always think, like, the thing with telly for me is, like, telly's like it's a team sport. Like, you're in a team and you arrive and you're made head boy on the first day. It's a lovely thing to do, but it's like, it's a team sport. And stand up, you're just out there on your own. So it's like different rules apply.
Yeah.
There's a compromise to TV.
I struggled with that transition
just
a little
on,
bit, even with when I did Roast Battle and battled Maisie Adam. Obviously, you have to send your jokes to the producers in advance so that they, like, Maisie doesn't see it and you guys don't see it, but they're like, to the producers, can I say this on the telly? And even with Roast Battle, which is the anything goes, there was stuff that was like, that doesn't quite go. Like, it's so different to just getting on stage at a comedy club and being like,
What were you going to say? That sounds interesting. I was going to say some stuff on that show. Go on, what did you say? Is there a joke that was lost to the producers?
There was a joke that was heavily changed.
Right.
So there was one of the jokes I said to her was she's described as down to earth, which means she's so pale she looks like she's been dug up. She looks like a ghost of one of the prostitutes the Yorkshire Ripper killed. That was originally going to be she looks like a ghost of one of the kids buried on the Yorkshire moors.
Yeah, okay.
And the other thing was...
I think they made a good decision.
We don't have producers, that's why we can keep it. I mean, we do, but it'd be amazing if Carl was like, hey, that's going out.
And for another reason, so when I'm sure she's fine with this now, when Maisie was a kid, she was left in a hotel room by her parents and she was found wandering around the hotel. I was like, but her parents did get her back. Her nickname at school was Maddie. I can't get rid of her. And they wouldn't let me say that either.
Yeah, I could see why.
Yeah,
I can see good reasons for that. Yeah, it's also that thing of, like, I think the illusion of, I always think that rule is like really, it's an interesting kind of unwritten rule of going pretty much joke about anything, but if you name a specific kid or a specific thing, it becomes problematic because ultimately they're going to hear of it, or they might hear of it, and then they would be offended. There was always a thing, like, I always thought, like, Shipman was quite a cartoony thing to, this doctor that killed so many people, it just seemed kind of, you couldn't quite get your head around it. But obviously,
because they were nanas, it was not as serious. Almost.
Like, it was somehow there was like comedically there was a lot of jokes about it. But obviously on TV you can never talk about that, because I remember at the time, sort of, and someone explaining it to me and going, well, yeah, but it's someone's nan that they loved, and they'll be watching the show and they'll be fucking horrified. So just fucking don't.
But how is Jimmy Savile the funniest punchline on the circuit for nearly 15 years? Like, because Jimmy Savile, isn't it? Like, horrific crimes.
I think I might have the best joke. I think
Jimmy Savile joke.
Yeah, Jimmy Savile, the only man in human history to have fucked more minors than Thatcher. I don't know. I mean, throw down if anyone's got a better one. I'd love to fucking hear it. I just think that's perfect.
Carl, I think we need to take that out. Right. I think this would be the first joke you ever take out.
What stuff did you had taken out then? You said you had stuff that you wanted to do on roast, but
no, roast battle. No, I think everything stayed in. I mean, I kind of know the rules pretty well on telly on what you can and what you can't say, and the touchstones of things. And I think it's often as well. I think there's a tendency. I've got a really good friend in America called Jesse, who's Jesse Joyce, brilliant writer, and he often picks me up on stuff for roasts when we've done stuff out there. Of going like, you're getting a massive reaction with that joke, but is it a laugh?
Yeah.
And it's an interesting thing with something that's like spicy at the end of a show. It has to be a whoosh of a laugh and then a sharp intake of breath. That cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
Of someone's sense of humor betraying who they really are, and then their conscience kicking in after that. But if it's just getting the ooh, it's like, well, no, you're not delivering. That's not releasing endorphins for anyone. That's just people are
saying
like
a horrific thing.
Yeah, and anyone could say an horrific thing. It's got to be funny.
Yeah, 100%.
And the roast in America, I feel like you can go so much further than you can over here. Do you feel that, like, just The UK sensibilities a little bit.
I think the UK one, people don't have that tradition in the same way. But I think we're much better. Weirdly, I think America's got a better tradition of roasting, and we've got a better tradition of taking the piss generally in conversation. Generally, it's that great Australian phrase. You know the old Aussie phrase? You call a mate cunt and you call a cunt mate. It's a great Aussie phrase. Yeah, it's just like perfect because you go, over here, there's a certain cachet to be able to take a joke, to go, right, okay, so I can take it, and there's a familiarity with taking the piss. And there's something about pushing it as far as you can, but not too far with your friends. That's like, it's intimacy. I really subscribe to that thing of like laughter being the shortest distance between two people.
And you feel that in American like friendships almost that's not as
prevalent as it would be. The taking the piss isn't quite as severe as it would be over
get it
here.
on TV, get it on the roast.
The roast thing's pretty good. I mean, I did the big roast I did over there. I did a lot of roast battling in Montreal, but the big one I did was the roast of Rob Lowe, which was it was a couple of funny lines in that. I was on Fox News. I was like trending on Fox News because there was a commentator on there called Ann Coulter, who's sort of like their Piers Morgan, big Trump right-wing commentator, and she was on, and they'd written this piece for her, right? They'd written this, the writers on that show are brilliant. My friend Jesse was involved in it, actually, and they'd written this monologue for her that was fucking amazing. It was as good as, remember Martha Stewart did the roast with Snoop Dogg? Yeah. And she did this, she'd been to prison and she did the roast, and she did this thing where she just banged out 15 brilliant lines in a row. Same guys that wrote that for her. And she arrived, Martha Stewart arrived and went, "What have you got for me? This is brilliant. I'm not going to change a word of it. I'm just going to do it." And she, it relaunched her career. Ann Coulter, fucking idiot that she is, got handed this thing and went, no, I'll do my own stuff. And then died on Ross. And then I said, my line was, I said, look, Ann Coulter is one of the most, I looked at her and I said, you're one of the most hatchet-faced, right-wing, objectionable bitches alive. But it doesn't have to be this way. You could kill yourself.
Fucking hell.
And they...
How is that somehow worse than what you said to Pete Davidson?
Yeah, it's a little bit worse. Well, the Pete Davidson thing was like... So I tried, so obviously you're doing the roast and you want to know whether the jokes work before. So you go to clubs and you go, okay, I'm doing a roast battle tomorrow, audience, and I'm roasting these people, so what do you think? And my line on Pete was, I said I'm appalled people would joke about Pete Davidson's father, who was a firefighter who died on 9/11. He's one of the guys that ran into the building and, and attempted to save people's lives. This is not the roast of Pete Davidson's father. That was in 2001. It's a fucking good joke. So
where'd you try that though? In New York?
No. So I tried it in. It was in LA. It was in the Comedy Store. No, it was in the Improv. Tried it in the Improv. And the audience like it gets a laugh and then ooh, like it was funny, but fuck. And then there's a laugh from the back of the room, like a sustained fucking maniacal laugh from the back of the room. Pete
Davidson.
And you went, okay. Because it was like, it's one of those ones where that's spicy enough that I wouldn't do it without checking.
Yeah.
And also, I really admire Pete. I like Pete a lot. I think he's a good guy. So you'd want to go. Look, if he went, it's a bit much, you'd go leave it. But he's very open to joking about it. And I don't know how much of that is, I imagine it's an incredibly painful thing, but he separated that from the laughter is a way of processing it. It's a way of knowing that it's...
And you've got to, if you're doing the roast of whoever on Comedy Central, a lot of your life, especially the thing that everyone... Not that it's the only thing he's known for, because he's a very successful comic as well, but it's one of the first things you think of when you think of Pete Davidson.
But he gives it, doesn't he?
It's going to be used.
Yeah. He's a ruthless roaster as well, isn't he? So it's not like you're just rounding on someone who's essentially an innocent. He's fucking good at it. He knows the score.
Yeah, he doesn't have to be there. Quite right.
Is there any comic on the planet?
Is there any comic on the planet?
Is there any comic on the planet?
Go on.
Question that you would be sort of, because I know other comics. You mentioned the roast battles in Montreal, and I know you did a lot of them. Is there anyone you'd be worried about going up against?
Oh, all of them. All of them. I think it's that heavy as the head that wears the crown. It's that thing of like, I've won a couple of roast things, and you go, people are, it's also I'm pretty easy to roast. I've got a lot of stuff going on. I love them though. I did it last week with. I mean, Jeff Ross is the Roastmaster General. So Chappelle was over 2 weeks ago, and we went down to. He was playing Hammersmith. So me
and Carl went to see him.
Oh, right. Which night did you go?
The last night.
Okay, yeah. No, I played the Wednesday. So me and Jeff got like 10 people up from the audience and did like a speed roast.
Yeah.
Across the thing. It was really fun.
Did you do it with him? Yeah.
Yeah, with Jeff. Yeah. I mean, I've done sort of. Yeah, it's a really fun. It's a fun world to be in for about 24 hours when Chappelle's in town. Yeah. And then it's a bit late night for me. It's a bit like, I went to bed at like 5 a.m. or something. You go, Jesus, this is too much. And then they're on it again. They're all on fucking vitamin drips the next morning. Going, Jesus, guys.
Wow.
Off. I'd rather, I'm not really a big...
Jeff did that alone the night we went. He still got the 10 people up and did it. It was phenomenal.
Where did you end up? Good. I mean, I don't, if it's private, I just fascinated. After the Chappelle show, where does it end up?
We ended up back at Chiltern Firehouse, drinking and I mean, lots of people getting very high, but that's not my thing. But yeah, it's, late night drinking. Yeah, it was fun.
But you got away early enough to not do the vitamin drip.
Yeah, you got away early enough for 5 a.m.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I think so. I was pretty ruined. I'm not really. I'm not a big drinker. I didn't drink for about maybe 12 years. I was straight edge. So as soon as I kind of got into comedy, I gave up drinking. It's interesting, like the stuff that I just wrote the kind of autobiography, so I kind of remembered all of this stuff. But I was like, I drank a lot when I was at college, and I drank after college, and I was drinking, not a problem drinker, but drinking for the wrong reasons. You know that thing of like when you're kind of drinking to kind of, and that's the best bit of your week.
Yeah,
is getting
it's
loaded.
back to the job that you were doing a job, but you're just doing it for the pay, and then drink becomes the thrill, the excitement.
Something. Yeah, so I kind of gave up drinking for the first 12 years of comedy, and now I drink a little bit, but you lose your capacity. I think over the years, I'm such a fucking lightweight now.
What's your vice?
You're not pub fit. You're not Chappelle pub fit.
Is your vice coffee then?
No, I wouldn't say it's a vice. I mean, coffee is always. I've been drinking coffee since I was 3, which is
what?
3.
My mother used to give me coffee. I liked milky coffee. She used to have quite milky coffee, and I would like. I remember I finished one of hers one day. She would give me coffee when I was 3.
What the fuck?
Fucking insane.
Yeah,
crazy piece of.
Last week's guest, Garrett Miller. I think he started drinking coffee at 9, and we were like, "What?"
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then Jimmy comes and wins.
It's
with
crazy.
3.
Can you operate without coffee?
Yeah.
Nice.
No, I could go without coffee. I think I had to give it up for something. Can't remember. Yeah, some crazy. Yeah, I could do all right without it. But
you don't drink coffee at all. You don't get it. It's just a boost.
I've got a Starbucks machine in my house. That's some stupid shit I bought. You know the machine from the shop?
full big one,
an orange one.
The big machine from the shop.
Oh, okay.
In the kitchen.
The full and a barista.
Not a barista, but I went and did the barista training. I take it very seriously. Yeah.
Did you do a Starbucks specific one? Did you actually keep it on brand?
I did I got the specific Starbucks coffee. I got the full machine at home. It's just that thing where you go, people don't understand it because people can be quite snobby about coffee and they go, oh no, you've got to go to this place. It's called, Extra Roast, and they do that, and there's only one of them, and these guys really take coffee seriously and they bring it in themselves, and you go, no, you don't understand. I want the consistency. I'm doing 40 countries on the tour. I want to be able to know I'm getting the same thing I get at home. It's the familiarity that I love.
Yeah. So you get the same wherever you are in the States or whatever as you do in your kitchen.
Yeah. I buy Starbucks beans. I've got a Sage barista machine. It's a much smaller one, but it still does the job. But I buy Starbucks beans because I like Starbucks coffee. Yeah, it's a bit like a lot of people who are sort of into their coffee like a more fruity one. Like Danny Mac and Paul Smith, they get it. I think it's called like Devil's Snare. It's like named after a thing, and it's
Harry Potter.
It's named after Harry Potter, but it's like a really fruity coffee, and it's nice. It's like when you go to an independent coffee shop. But the dark roast from Starbucks for me is as good as it gets.
Yeah, and I'm into that as well. Like occasionally I'll go for something crazy, like a 24-hour drip Japanese fucking thing. But
where are you getting that?
This is why I don't think I'll ever be a coffee snob. I just want to feel awake, alive, and then need a shit. That's whatever does that.
You're doing 40 countries.
Yeah. I mean, I think the last tour was 40, maybe a bit more. 2018 was a big travel year. Like it was a big, like pretty much everywhere.
I'm doing Paris on this tour.
What's right? You doing what, sorry?
I'm doing Paris. Little 105-seater.
He's doing 2 countries.
Paris. Yeah, I don't know. I would really consider though going out there because there is something where you go, especially with a podcast. Like people sort of the thing you learn when you start touring internationally is people just like British comedy. It's a great export. I mean, stand up generally travels very well. People speak incredible English now, and it's really changed the last 10 years because it used to be only countries with version original. There used to be a thing where the TV companies were the gatekeepers, and some countries would dub things and some countries would put on subtitles. And there was a real difference in people's linguistic ability because of what they consumed. And now, with the world of YouTube and Netflix, everything's fucking changed. Because no one wants to wait for Game of Thrones to come out in their language, in their country, with their TV station, with the dubbing. So they just go, right, we'll just watch it on YouTube and we'll pick up the English. And the
we did that in Liverpool as well. We just had a Scouse one for a bit, Scouse Game of Thrones.
You should have. I mean,
you're talking shit, Jon Snow. You're full of shite.
King in the North, Southport.
King in Southport. It's interesting. Like anywhere you go now, you can sort of play and people get it and they get the references and it just works.
I remember Bill Baer talking about the fact that people in Europe can understand English even better than they can speak it, and they speak it pretty well.
Yeah.
So that's why they're so accustomed to stand-up now, is that they, even if they couldn't articulate the joke you've just said, they understand perfectly what
I think
you're
it's
on about.
like, it's also that badge of honor. I got a lot of Eastern European fans that have learned the language through comedy. Like, because actually you really know you've understood a language when you can get a joke in it in real time. So I think a lot of people that come to see my show from, I mean, like, you know, when I tour Eastern Europe, it's like, you know, it's like the second and third city, you kind of go, I haven't even fucking heard of it. I don't know what it's got, you know. Once you've, you know,
everyone knows the capital.
Everyone
maybe
knows the
second
capital,
city.
and the second city, and then you're in like city number, like in Denmark, I'm in like city 7, and you go,
hoping they've got a team that have played in the Europa League. And you might know them.
I'm playing fucking Buddha or something on the north, the coast. And people come and they get the jokes and they get it in real time and they fucking love it. It's like, it's also getting to play places where people haven't seen a comedy show before. They've seen it on Netflix or they've seen it on YouTube, and then you play to them live for the first time. It's like they're like, because laughter,
it's magic.
Well, laughter is like such a social noise. I mean, there'll be people listening to this podcast that haven't been to see a comedy show. Because I hadn't seen one until it was in my 20s.
Yeah.
And you know, it's not such a huge thing. There's people that haven't been to live gigs. But if you go and see a comedy show, you laugh so much more than watching the tape. It's like laughter's like about 1 million years older than language. It's a different part of the throat. It's a different part of our physiognomy. It's incredibly powerful.
Yeah. I can watch a full Netflix special of a comic and love it and not necessarily laugh out loud once.
Yeah. And there's no endorphins released.
Yeah.
You enjoy it intellectually, but you don't get that physical thing. You don't get the dopamine. You don't get the benefits of laughter. But when you go out and see something live, you can see something, you know, half as funny and laugh twice as much.
Yeah.
Because it's being in the room with other people. It's also being part of a tribe.
Yeah.
Like, why come out to a room? Why, you were chatting earlier about what's the right size room. Well, actually, 10,000's too big for a tribe.
Yeah.
You don't feel connected. But 1,000 people, everyone's like...
together.
I love that thing of like, you go to a gig and like there's 1,000 people in front of you, go, none of these motherfuckers have anything in common other than we all have the same sense of humor.
Yeah.
And I always think with my audience, they've got the right sense of humor. Because you don't need a sense of humor when life's going great. You just don't. Just when you're on a beach, having pina coladas with the missus, 10 days into a holiday, no one says funny shit. No one's ever said anything funny on a beach, because why fucking would you?
Yeah, the best comedy comes from tragedy and shit situations and laughing at awful stuff. And
you need that gallows thing just to get through those tough times. I think it's such an important thing. Like, you can't be frightened and laugh at the same time.
Do you think you, just to come back to sort of your style of comedy, but we'll take a break in a minute as well. But like, obviously there's been a huge debate over the past sort of few years, and even more recently, like with Chappelle's latest special, about what can be said on stage, what can be joked about and stuff. For someone who does, as you've said yourself, quite spicy stuff, I think I don't really ever see anyone saying Jimmy Carr should be in trouble for this joke. Do you think that's partly...
Maybe they should.
But do you think that's partly down to the fact that they're clearly jokes and one-liners rather than
it's not an opinion,
presented as an opinion?
Yeah, I think that's a very astute point. I think it's very clearly a joke. Feed line, punchline, laugh. Not a... I'm not peddling an opinion. I'm not trying to change anyone's mind on anything particularly. That said, I think you can joke about anything, but not with anyone. You know, so I think my audience come and see my show. They're not offended by anything. They like it. They get that it's jokes. And then occasionally something sort of slips out. And the trouble with jokes when they're reported is, I'm telling a joke at 10 o'clock in the evening in a theatre to a paying audience. I'm not shouting it through your letter box at 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
But that's what fucking happens when it goes in the Daily Mail.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there's a weird thing where, I mean, there's a lot of very good journalists out there and there's a lot of good people in that profession, but there are some that do that trick of like, it's a bit disingenuous where they kind of go, he said this about these people, and they treat it like it's a statement.
Yeah.
And they obviously fucking know it's a joke.
Yeah.
You know, and I do sort of subscribe to that benign violation theory on comedy, which is the idea that you take something that is a violation in the world and you make it benign through joking about it. You make it okay through you filter it through the charcoal of comedy to make it all right. I think that's a very powerful process that we go through, and you sort of know that the healing's begun when you can joke about shit.
Yeah.
It's interesting in topics that we find it very difficult to joke about are things that haven't been resolved.
Yeah.
Once it's resolved, you can kind of start to work through it.
Yeah, you know, a comic's sort of over his ex-girlfriend when he's doing breakup material and he's doing stuff about like being whatever. Yeah. We'll take a little break there. We'll have some of our very generous sponsors sell us some shite.
Is this the worst episode or the best episode? I don't know.
Somewhere in the middle.
Okay, great.
Wag lids, it's Dan. Hope you're enjoying today's episode. Do us a favor, if you're watching on YouTube, like the video, subscribe. If you're listening, follow us on all socials at Have a Word Pod. Tell a friend, do something, help spread the word. Also, I'm on tour next year. If you want to come and see me do stand-up, get tickets at dannightingale.com. Appreciate you. You're a good egg. You're a good lid. Back to the episode.
Here we go. So, Jimmy, we have some listeners who, for one reason or another, require our help and advice with their lives.
I can't imagine anyone listening to this doesn't have problems.
I
can't imagine.
We capitalise.
Sure.
And on top of that, we're also going to share with you a feature. Before we get into the advice bit, on our Patreon, which if anyone is a huge fan of this podcast and hasn't signed up yet, patreon.com/haveawaypod.
We mention it. We've mentioned it a few times. You will have heard about it.
And I don't view it. I'm not looking down on the Patreon thing. I don't view it as you guys begging.
It's a great value deal, Jimmy.
I don't even know why I said that. I just
you get some good shit.
One of the best deals in UK. Come on, thank you.
Next episode
You're going to sign up to Patreon, or maybe just give a homeless guy money for tea. It's the same. It's the same. It's two different types of people begging, but begging is begging. If you want to encourage this, I guess maybe they could go out and make money for themselves, or maybe you could just support them.
Fuck that. I want a Lamborghini.
Please get on Patreon, and if you can, give a Lamborghini
every month.
Okay, go ahead.
On our Patreon exclusive episodes, we've been doing a feature where people can write in their confessions to us in a Catholic style.
Sure. I thought about being a priest when I was a kid. I was Catholic, brought up Catholic, and had a proper faith until I was in my sort of early 20s. But fundamentally, the priesthood wasn't for me because I never found kids that attractive.
Still?
I think the opposite of a priest is a comic, actually.
It's interesting, isn't it? It's the same.
I don't know. They perform. They perform one-man shows every Sunday.
You look at Bill Hicks. Yeah, but they're no better than you, are they? They're just passing a hat round at the end. They're no better than you two fuckers on Patreon. People pay to see me. They don't fucking make a contribution on the way out. But that thing of that, I do think there's something about some great comics that are preachers. Like Bill Hicks was, you know, father was a preacher. Like that thing of like, there's something about it it's not dissimilar. Go ahead. What do we got then? Confessions.
So people have sent us a couple of confessions, and it's our job to either absolve them of their sins or
give them a punishment.
Give them a bit of a punishment.
Got it.
Jermaine penance.
No problem at all.
So, wag lids. Hope you guys are keeping well on that side of the world. Got a quick confession, and hoping my reasoning will mean I have no penance to pay. Here we go. So to cut a long story short, my mum got a new bloke who was a bit of a cunt. And shortly after my parents sold the family home, I moved in with mum and said man. He was a proper tosser for about 2 years before I moved in with my missus in Australia. But the night before I left for the airport, I decided to use this wanker's toothbrush as a bumhole and nutsack scratcher. If anything, I think I'd done him a favour. My nuts smell better than his breath, that's for sure. Do you think I deserve some punishment, or was what I did okay? All the best from Anonymous.
Okay, I mean, here's my issue with this motherfucker.
Could you get the mic close to you, Jimmy? Sorry.
Okay, so a couple of issues. I don't like the term stepdad. I prefer to say motherfucker. I think referring to a stepdad as motherfucker at every opportunity, and also always pronouncing it motherfucker, is always funny. here's the issue with that, right? You've not really thought about the consequence. So you've got the guy's toothbrush and you've rubbed it on your nutsack and your anus, and this is the guy your mother kisses. Motherfucker, you just got a virtual rim job from your mum. I think the penance might be you just have to live with that.
You've already done your penance.
Yeah, virtual rim job from your mum. Congratulations.
Your penance is you have to give your mum a kiss at Christmas.
Oh, the circle of life. Oh, I couldn't even say it.
The circle of life is what I call that guy's anus.
God.
It's not great. I mean, that's a hell of a confession to make, though. I never really got that thing of the revenge of sticking a toothbrush up your... I mean, I don't know. Mate, have you ever done that? Is that a...
I know someone shoved a toothbrush up your arse to get revenge. No, but I can totally see that.
It's not up the arse. It's not up the arse. It's just a gentle...
I mean,
you don't literally disappear it up your arse.
No, I killed two birds
that
with
was
one
the old
stone.
joke, wasn't it? We got a toilet brush. I didn't like it. I've gone back to paper. That's as old as the hills, that one, isn't it?
No, if you're gonna put a toothbrush near there, you might as well clean yourself at the same time.
No.
You're inside.
You've got to be able to put it back without it. You know, you don't. Let's not get too graphic.
Yeah,
too graphic.
It's just a little.
I know someone who spat in someone's mayonnaise.
Spat in someo's mayonnaise. That's a euphemism, right? Wow.
I
spat in her mayonnaise. I don't mind telling you. Wow, that sounds filthy, doesn't it?
It wasn't. Well, it was, but not.
Yeah, like spitting in someone's drink or whatever. You kind of go, it's gross, and you go, it's spit. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. You'll be all right.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. When people are like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you," it's just fine. It's not that bad.
Next time we have a drink, a lockdown lock-in, I'm spitting in every drink you make.
Not you. If I use my wife's toothbrush, she's fucking appalled.
Oh no, that's fine because you're
That's
doing.
a weird thing, isn't it? When your other half goes, you use my toothbrush, and you go, yeah, but I mean, but
we do lots of things.
We just did the bad thing. Yeah. What are you talking about?
Yeah. She gets really touchy about that.
Not with me.
No? She's all right with you?
Yeah, she's fine with me, yeah. Go ahead. What, we got another one? We got another confession?
We absolutely have. So it says...
That guy's just got it.
By the way, you've already done the penance.
Yeah, your penance is your mum knows what your arsehole tastes like. Hi, Lids. Anonymous, please.
Lovely turn of phrase. Clip that one off for socials.
She knows.
Make sure we get Jimmy's face right now. Hey, what the fuck have I agreed to?
About 10 years ago, I was 27 and I went to a friend's wedding in Thailand. Being a destination wedding, it was a pretty small do, 30 to 40 people. I didn't know loads there, but my best mate came with me and we shared a hotel room. It was a great day, and the bride and groom went off to the honeymoon suite, and a few of us went out to a club in town. I went. I spotted a lad in the group who, to be honest, I don't really remember from the day, but we ended up sharing a taxi home, started kissing, and found out it was the bride's cousin. We go back to the beach for a walk, and things get a bit frisky. I click into gear and go, I'm not shagging this lad on a Thai beach. Let's go back to yours. We went back, we get to the door, and he said I had to be quiet because his parents were in the apartment as well. I thought to myself, how old is this lad? I was pissed and I wanted sex. I asked him and he said he was 18. I thought, sound, that's okay. After sex, because I absolutely did not want to wake up in the morning to his parents, tiptoes out, went home, didn't wake my friend up, I'd got away with it. I lived in Australia at the time and flew home the following afternoon. About a week later, I get a call from the bride who had gone back to England after the wedding. She said her 16-year-old cousin had been telling all his friends that he had slept with one of the bridesmaids, and he was bragging about it to all of his mates and everyone at the party. The little shit had lied about his age. She asked me if it was true, and I pulled out my best acting and denied everything. In fact, I got fake upset on the phone for full impact, and she believed me. She apologised for asking me when deep down she knew I would never do something like that. She told her cousin that he was a fantasist and she put him in his place and said to stop spreading lies and rumours about me. To this day, I fully got away with shagging a 16-year-old and his friends. I fully got away with shagging a 16-year-old and his friends and fam think he's a massive liar. I've never told a single soul this secret, not even my best mate. Do I deserve to be absolved or is there some penance due?
So, can I ask Adam, how was it? How was it? I'm sorry I didn't believe you when you said you fucked a bridesmaid in Thailand. But, I mean, it sounds like it is true. I mean, if the shoe was on the other foot, if that was a dude emailing us, we'd be onto social services right now and the police. It sounds deeply suspect.
It does.
The worst things have happened in Thailand. Much worse. Worst things happened in Thailand that night.
Mate, there are Thai listeners going, you fucked a 16-year-old. Whatever. That's not even noteworthy.
That's in.
What, you mean a veteran?
That's in a 16-year-old time. That's in the brochure. We advertise that. I had a joke years ago about because apparently the rudest thing you can do, different cultures have different traditions, and I had a joke about how the rudest thing you can do in Thailand is show someone the soles of your feet. But I've got a mate that went to Thailand, and I can assure you, you can do much ruder things than that. He shat on a hooker's chest for a tenner.
But he kept his shoes on.
It's morally, it's questionable, right? So you would say it's a morally questionable thing. 16, it's legal. I mean, Dimitri Martin had the definitive joke about this. You know Dimitri?
Yeah.
Great American comic. And he had a great joke about how, because there was a kid in America that slept with this super hot teacher. His teacher in her like mid-20s, and slept with his kid who was like 15, and the kid died. He got high-fived to death. Dimitri's a beast. It's the best jokes.
I don't think the thing here. So because he lied, right?
About his age.
About his age. He was at a wedding. They've been to a club. They've all had a drink, right? I don't think...
We've all had a drink. Feels like that's peak scouse again.
We've all had a bevy. Come on. We've all shagged a 16-year-old.
She was out of uniform.
But here's the thing. She's shagged someone of 16. I think the age of consent has changed. I think it's changed the last couple of years. I don't think it's the same.
Yeah.
I think like it used to be.
Jimmy, you've got to just clarify quickly.
No, because
it hasn't changed.
It has though, right? The age of consent used to be 16 and it isn't anymore, because if you slept with a 16-year-old now, they'd go, yeah, but you groomed them.
Yeah.
They'd say, well, you groomed them and it's still not okay. I think the age of consent is now effectively 18.
Yeah, you're allowed to sleep with them at 16 as long as the parents give permission.
Well, I mean, that's a whole different... That wasn't the case. It's definitely moved.
It's an awkward conversation to have with a dad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah.
No, you fucking idiot.
Oh, it is, yeah.
No.
Hey, listen.
It does feel
feels right.
It feels like morally it has moved a little bit. Like at the time, this might have been a great japes 10 years ago. We might have gone, well, I guess 16. And you sort of think Joe Rogan has a great piece of material on this. You know Joe's bit on this?
No.
Where he says you can definitely a teacher can sleep. A male teacher can sleep with a female pupil, and it can be a sexual assault. But all a female teacher can do to a 16-year-old boy is let him fuck her. Is his rationale on the whole thing. I'm not sure where I stand on that, but I think she's got. I don't know what her penance should be.
What would you have done differently?
I don't think she can do anything differently. She was lied to. I think
she's the victim.
I think if anything,
she wasn't. Whoa. She was lied to.
Yeah.
No. If ever you have to say to someone, how old are you? Don't fuck them. There's the rule. I mean, if ever, don't fuck them. Even if they produce photo ID, the fact that you're IDing someone should tell you, don't fuck them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that should be the thing. It's the asking is the thing. The asking parents, should be the shutters come down.
The parents in the apartment was the next layer of that. How old are you? And who's in this apartment? Mum and dad.
I don't want to wake your mum and dad, but you're definitely of age. We should definitely be doing this.
Yeah.
We should definitely be doing this. So
I disagree with both of you.
It's nice to get a letter from a female pedo, though, isn't it? It feels like we've kind of mixed things up.
We've never had one.
They're not as bad, are they? Female pedos are never as bad.
Fedos.
You never see it on Paedophile Hunter.
I wonder what her...
No, you don't.
You know, like a woman called Becky comes in going, fucking hell.
Yeah.
I've got to ask for
Ruin
ID.
my holiday.
That's a gag from my... I'm doing that. It's a pretty good gag.
Go on.
I don't like... You know when people's profile photos don't match what they look like?
Yeah.
She said she was a 16-year-old girl, not a middle-aged policeman. I'll be honest, the sex was disappointing. He took down my particulars and I came quietly. We got jokes. If you need jokes, we got jokes. Now,
this episode has had more actual jokes in it than any other episode.
Well, you booked me, baby. What should the penance be for this?
So
not youth work.
I think the problem is that she has pulled the and lied and said it didn't happen. That's the problem.
You pot calling kettle black motherfucker. That's exactly what you die with the lie. You know full well.
Yeah, and I deserve to be punished for that.
All right, okay.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm above what she's done, but what I'm saying is what she's done.
all right.
I've done plenty of things wrong in my life.
I would say the lie is not the huge problem here. It's more the fucking the kid.
Yeah.
More the fucking the kid is the issue.
I disagree.
If he was 15, it's a different chat.
I think it's the fact she's lied, and like this lad is being gaslit by all his family now into believing he's made it up.
Yeah, but he knows he shagged her.
He doesn't. He'll be questioning it.
You're not questioning that. He's not questioning that. He's
not like, did I imagine the stretch marks? No, I don't think he's that.
16. He's fine. He can smell his own finger. He knows what's happening.
Years later, he hasn't watched it. He's like, no. I'm right. I'm still right.
I still smell like Thailand.
He still can't eat a pad thai. I don't know what we do with this lady. I mean, so she's in Australia now.
Get her details. She sounds great. She sounds great.
You want to go for a drink with her?
I'm too old for her, but
I think most people are too old for her. We've got any younger listeners, we'll put you in touch. Yeah, I don't know. So what's she... What are we going to do with her?
Oh. So, for example, very recently we got a confession in. Someone, when he was younger, he fucked the packet that a multi-pack of Lucozade comes in. And the penance we gave...
Not just like in the shop. He worked there and he took it from the stock room into the employee's bathroom and had sex with it against the wall.
He was a horny little 15-year-old.
He'd never had sex.
He was confused why he couldn't finish.
Yeah, okay. I mean, Lucozade.
So maybe we should get that guy to in contact with this woman. What about that? Let's make some connections. Let's get Lucozade Boy this woman's email. Because I think he will travel to Australia.
Is there at any defence the guy lied about his age? Is there any defence at all?
No, not legally.
No, anyway, but in the moral, in the have a word, you think it is a defence that he went.
He lied. He lied. He was in an adult situation. His parents had let him be in. As far as I'm concerned, that's his parents giving consent for him to fuck whoever he wants. And he's 16, which is technically legal. And he loved it.
Well, I can tell you, you failed your audition as the new Jeremy Kyle. We're not going to be using
I'd be a fucking great new Jeremy Kyle. I'd just be like, do you know what? Yous both are doing my fucking head in. You just need to sort your attitude out. Fuck off. Yo, Graham, I've got this.
That'd be a shit show, that wouldn't it? He's all just fuck off. Yeah. Next, you can fuck off as well.
There's a slight irony as well in the you need to sort your attitude out. Fuck off. Okay.
If he's cheating on you, then maybe you need to be doing something more for him at home. And you need to stop cheating on here. There you go. Episode 2 done. Out the studio.
Yeah. Just imagine 2 people here. No one... You didn't miss a bit. That was just nonsense. I don't know what that woman's got to do. I think she needs to go back to Thailand as her penance. Go back to Thailand and fuck an old dude. And then on aggregate,
away goals,
we will think, it's away goals. She's got to fuck someone in their 60s.
Yeah, but that's not what they're there for. Old guys in the 60s in Thailand.
Yeah, but
when you're a sex tourist,
you know what we're doing? You know what we're doing though? She go back to Thailand, fuck a guy in his 60s that's clearly a sexual tourist, and she's taking one for the team.
Absolved. There you go. That's the penance. There you go.
I didn't know you couldn't sing. Okay, more confessions.
We are done for confessions, but we do have... Oh, hang on. No, I've got one more. I've got one more confession.
Are we doing have a confession today, not have a word?
We've got a bit of time.
Roll with it, baby.
We'll do one more.
Are you liking the confessions,
I'm
Jim?
liking the whole show.
So, hello, fellas. I have a confession to make. A few years ago, this is a bit of a brutal one, this. A few years ago, my housemate came back from a night out covered in bruises, a busted lip, and as we later found out, 2 broken ribs. He told me he'd been assaulted for no reason by a lad we went to university with. The lad in question is from Nottingham, and we all went to Nottingham Trent Uni, so he was out with his mates from home. The lad who'd been assaulted didn't recognise the other lads from uni. Anyway, I was a witness in court on a GBH charge, and I said I was there and saw the guy from uni do it. This obviously isn't true. I was in the flat all night, and I didn't want the guy to get away with what he did to my mate. in a he said, she said scenario. The lad got 6 months in prison and he was released after 2. Here's the thing. This was the first year of uni and I didn't know my housemate particularly well. Since then, I've been on plenty of nights out with him. And as soon as he's had a drink, he's a trouble-causing dickhead. He's a dickhead. I've also seen him tell barefaced lies about things he's done that make him look bad. Like when he crashed his car into a parked one and told the driver of the parked car he'd seen who done it and gave them a fake number plate. He's a trouble-causing liar. Did I essentially get a lad convicted for standing his ground? Should I have ever lied in court? Am I absolved or what?
Lied in court?
I mean, we prefer female paedophiles with confessions, to be honest.
I mean, this feels like a more serious... Because the police are involved. That guy's got a criminal record now.
Yeah.
And had to do, 2 months in prison? Mm-hmm. I mean, 2 months in prison is... I mean, listen, I would not last 2 months in prison. That sounds brutal to me. I don't know. I think...
what would be your tactic to survive in prison?
My tactic in prison?
Yeah, day one.
Day one?
Yeah.
I would give the best blowjob. I would be next level. Next level. Don't neglect the balls. That's the key to a successful life in prison. I don't know. I mean, listen, I think I would warm up their toothbrush. That's important. That's what we've learned today.
Wait, your asshole.
I think I'd be all right. I'd be a funny fucker. So here's the thing with this, right?
You've been doing new stuff in the fucking canteen.
Yeah, this guy. Here's one for you. Come on, everyone. You ever noticed how the screws? This one seems like I don't know what the punishment is for lying in court. I presume it's contempt of court. They take that very, very seriously.
Perjury, yeah.
But I think it's perjury. That's so. What they should do is write a letter to the court and say I lied in court and get the guy. And get the guy off and go and do the time.
Yeah, you're going to do the 2 months while he gets his criminal record expunged, essentially.
Well, the criminal record needs to be expunged because...
But we don't know that he didn't do it. Now. We don't know that he didn't do it. All we know is his mate's an arsehole.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even so...
So the start of the email... So they come back from a night out.
It feels
and
like
he was like, I've been beaten up by one of these guys.
For no reason.
And as their friendship develops, he's like, oh, hang on. Why would you just, early in a friendship, if someone comes back and goes, I got beaten up, you need to basically lie for me in court, I'd be like, I just want to get through Freshers Week.
Never mind.
What are you talking about?
Never mind at the beginning of a friendship. If your best friend comes along and goes, I got beaten up by a strange man for no reason, I need you to lie in court. You go, right, you had me up until lied in court, and now
I'd lie
I'm
in court
out.
for him. I'd lie in court for him.
Yeah, I'd probably lie in court for you as well.
Yeah.
I haven't, if this is used as evidence.
Can I speak on behalf of the jury and say, I think you definitely were both involved? Whatever, just the accent is making me suspicious. But that thing of going, I don't know what that guy, it depends. I mean, if the guy was, I don't know, studying graphic design, maybe it doesn't matter a fuck. But you have to find out because if that guy was studying law and he's got a conviction, then he's toast.
Yeah.
Is that thing where you go, well, that's...
Ruined his life.
His life's ruined.
Never gets to go to America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're out.
Yeah. What if he was studying going to America? Fucked.
Yeah.
What if he was studying what?
Going to America. It's the sequel to Coming to America that we've misremembered.
Yeah.
Even with Eddie Murphy behind you in the shot.
I know media studies is bullshit, but that is a stretch. What are you studying? Going to America.
What's his penance?
I don't know. Well, I think the penance might be
2 months in prison.
2 months in prison, yeah. 2 months hard
Just
time.
go to prison
I think you've
for
got to
2 months.
find out the guy's penance is he's got to find out who's the guy that was convicted and find out did it affect his life. That's the penance, right? You've got to go and do a bit of investigating and then go, do I need to do the right thing and go, I was under duress and you write a letter. I don't think they're going to punish you harshly. That might be the thing.
Offer to lie for the guy you lied against. Give him a one free
Keep lying. Keep lying.
Keep lying. Build a lie on
the rest
another
of your
lie. That's the way forward.
Just another lie.
Yeah, lad, I lied
And he
about you.
fucked a 16-year-old. And another layer.
Or suck him off.
I don't know who gets. So he got beaten up. A split lip, couple of bruises, broken ribs. Do you? What's the level of injury at which we're pressing charges? We're going to the police.
I think broken bones is where I'd draw. Having said that, I got battered in town once and they broke my shoulder and I just never did anything about it.
Yeah, I got beaten up a couple of times and just went,
Yeah.
But the hassle of it just seemed like too much bother.
Yeah, I've got to find the people, make out that what.
I think if it was racially motivated, then I'd press charges.
Yeah, okay. If
someone beat you up for being white.
Yeah, I mean, I've just got to, what's right is right, guys. So
A hate crime, essentially.
Yeah, if you're victims of many hate crimes in Chester. Yeah.
I live in Chester. I live in a village just outside Chester that is 99.9% white, apart from the pharmacist. But if he ever attacks me over a prescription, I'm going to court.
Well, I'm glad we've saw. Is this another confession? It feels like something has happened.
Oh, right. Your penance is find the guy, tell him what you did, and do whatever he wants you to do.
Fuck that! That guy is deleting this email, stopping this episode, and going, "Kiss my ass."
I think he's got to find the guy and see what effect it had. And if it's no harm, no foul, if the guy had to do 2 months and he maybe beat someone up, but it didn't ruin his life, then I think.
Because he did beat them. Well, someone beat this fella up.
I know. And let's remember, they're at Nottingham Trent, so things can't be going that well, can they?
Yeah, we've not lost the best and the brightest.
We've not lost a doctor here.
Yeah. What do they study in Nottingham Trent?
Going to
Is
America.
it one of those ones that it used
Not
to be?
the proper ones.
It didn't used to be a polytechnic. I think it used to be a 24-hour garage.
Yeah.
They got a delivery of books one day and fucking went with it.
We wanted magazines. They'll do.
I've got a 2-1 from Esso.
Here's your penance, lad. Find out what happened and help him. Right. Oh, God. So, this one came in. This is a Have a Word.
Oh, finally.
Play the theme
There you
tune.
go.
You can't hear it, neither can I. You can't. Come on. So this is from Lauren. She doesn't want it to be anonymous. She hasn't said so. But she has asked specifically, because she's Geordie, for it to be read in a Geordie accent.
Don't do it, Adam.
Now.
It's African and it's racist.
No,
I'm telling you.
I can do Geordie.
Howie. I'm from Newcastle. I've heard you do it.
Howie? The lids? Loving the pod? That's not bad.
That's a Geordie girl, though. Why are we
Sorry,
doing that?
what part of Lagos are they from?
No! It's way funnier if you do.
Loving the pod? I don't know who's in the wrong the most here, so feel free to have a word with any of us. That's good.
Are you trying to start a sing-song? I don't know this one.
If I'm going to tain his old mine on me.
Can you do it?
Right. Chino swing it. Hi, lids, loving the pod. I don't know who's in the wrong here the most, but feel free to have a word with any one of us. I was messaging a guy called Aaron, Aaron, for a couple of weeks before agreeing to go with him to the Lake. I'm not doing the whole thing. To the Lake District camping for the weekend. He was helping his friend out by doing paddleboard and instructing while his friend was away. It was going fine until the last night when Connor, his friend, came back with his girlfriend, Sophia. We went on a double date to a local restaurant and it was all fine until we went to another pub. After that, Aaron and Sophia, his friend's girlfriend, were getting increasingly flirty to the point where I made a joke about swinging because things were that awkward. By the end of the night, my date Aaron had his arm round Sophia, touching her leg. Her boyfriend didn't even react, and I was feeling so awkward. This continued when we went back to the campsite. We kept on drinking and built a fire. They were on one side, and me and the boyfriend were sat on the other. They kept getting more and more flirty. I couldn't help but make jokes to diffuse the tension.
Is this a letter to Penthouse? I feel like it's going to...
Jimmy, let me
be quite erotic.
And then he got his massive throbbing cock out, and I was like, what? Your dick's
Little did he know. And little did he know I was watching on the whole time from the kitchen cupboard.
And like a proper Geordie romantic, he stuck it in my ear. Eventually, Connor had had enough of the way they were going on. He invited me to walk with him to the toilet block after I said I needed a piss. Really Geordie romantic. Like,
Yeah, I know, it's nice.
I went with him, and as soon as we got out of their sight, he started necking me, trying to put his hands down my pants. This is Connor, by the way, the one with the girlfriend. I was so annoyed at Aaron, I just went with it. I was technically single after all. To cut a long story short, I ended up bent over a gate in a sheep field. No, I am going to read that in a Geordie accent. To cut a long story short, I ended up bent over a gate in a sheep field. Proper classy. After he finished, Connor said he felt guilty and we just went back to the campfire and acted like nothing had happened. Aaron and Sophia still message me now and are still flirty. Are still messaged now. They are both none the wiser to Connor cheating with me. Are we completely in the wrong for what we did, or are they in the wrong for flirting and mugging us off to provoke our actions? Who do you need to have a word with? Also, tell Aaron and Sophia, even though it's been over a month since. Also,
should I tell?
Oh, okay, good. Just words. Use your words. Should I tell Aaron and Sophia, even though it's been over a month since it happened? That was a busy email, wasn't it?
There's a lot going on there. So
that was busy.
Her boyfriend flirted with someone.
Yeah, and she
shagged someone else.
Shagged someone in a field immediately. It was like absolute instant karma. Didn't even have a word with him. Just went, right, stick that up me right now. Other random guy, fucking do that.
The email makes it sound like this was a first date as well. She went to the Lake District on a first date.
I'd been messaging him a bit, and then we went camping.
That's very sort of.
And I joked about swinging. Well, that's how every conversation about swinging has started. No one goes, right, swinging. It's like, it's going to be a bit of light chat first before the swing happens. I think she is, I think she's 100% in the wrong in this, isn't she?
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's single?
She's single. I mean, I've got no problem with her fucking Connor. Had she even fucked Aaron?
No.
I'm not sure he did anything wrong. He was just flirting with
his
someone.
mate's girlfriend, though, and they're being all touchy.
I know, but it is quite something in it. Like, he was touching her leg, so I got bent over a fence
also,
and fucked. You know, like,
let's not skip over that, because he had his arm round her and was touching her leg, which makes me think he might be Mr. Tickle. Where's he gone in there? I don't know. I mean, it feels like these are young single people exploring each other's bodies in the countryside. What a lovely thing. We should get the girl from Thailand involved.
Wow, that really felt like a video you watch in biology. These are young people in the countryside.
Young, healthy people bent over a field.
Lovely.
Some poor fella's walking the dog going, what's going on here? Oh, no, you don't understand. This is Connor. My boyfriend was flirting with someone. No, yeah, just bang on into me. But what happened was...
And she reads that email out.
Like, I'm not sure as well. It's the time lag on the revenge shag that worries me here.
Minutes.
It's the idea that you're like minutes, like they're at the campfire. He's on that side of the fire. We're on this side of the fire. I'm going for a pee. Yep, fuck him. Feels pretty instant.
And if you're ever in a relationship with this girl, never lose her at a house party. Because it'll get busy.
Yeah. Why are you sucking off that stranger? You looked at that waitress twice. Oh.
I was ordering.
That was quick.
I'm hungry.
Yeah, she knows. She's basically done a have a word that's a confession. It's another confession, really. She's sent it in under the guise of a have a word, but yeah, you know, it's not like you're married. It'd be so much more sordid if we're both in our early 40s, but I do get fucked pretty quick if he even looks anywhere. So I think Jimmy's right. They're young. Who cares?
Yeah, have fun.
None of those relationships are going to last or go the distance, so it's fine. It doesn't matter. You've ruined nothing, and you've got yourself a good dickin'. Who's lost?
What a romantic you are, Adam.
A good dickin' is a phrase that's not. I think. Are you quoting? There's that from Pride and Prejudice. There's that because there's that sequence where Mr. Darcy gives her a good dicking, isn't there? Yes. Yes. No, I remember now. It's a beautiful piece, isn't it?
Yeah.
I always hear Darcy with your accent. All right, come here now. I'm gonna fucking dick you.
Do you know,
Mr. Darcy?
The first time we met, it was you won't even remember it, maybe not.
I definitely won't remember it.
We did a benefit gig for Dave Johns at the store in London, and it was like a stacked bill. It was like for the comedian support fund thing.
He did 45 before each act.
Right. Go on. Yeah, I remember that gig.
You heard my accent, and you was like, "Oh, you're from Liverpool?" I went, "Yeah." And you went, "John Bishop's here. Shall I just tell him to fucking go home? We don't need both of you."
Seems about right. I don't remember that, but that sounds like the kind of shit I would say.
Jimmy, this has been an absolute pleasure to have you in this studio.
An honour and a privilege for you. It's been really fun, boys. I've got to say, I very much like it. It was a lot of fun.
Well, thank you very much. Your new book, Before and Laughter, is available everywhere. The links are in the description of the episode. We were sent a copy in advance.
I know. I tell you, if either of you could read, I'm sure you would have enjoyed it.
I like the colours.
It's got two faces.
I tell you what's done really
this
well.
Bit's boring.
I tell you what's done really well, and the publisher sort of said, "Oh, this is apparently the case with all comics. The audiobook's done better than the book." But I think people want to hear, because I got my friend to come in and direct the audio.
I thought you said you got your friend to come in and read it.
No, I did the audiobook. I did like half an hour of the audiobook and went, it was just like droning on. So I got my friend Amanda to come in, and who's a comedy director, and just like direct it and like stop me every like 4 paragraphs and go, fucking deliver it properly.
Don't just read it.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Like deliver it.
How long does it take to do an audiobook? I mean, it's
8 hours, but that takes about 12 hours. With
Right.
like little breaks and things here and there. It takes about 12 hours.
Do you know what? Do you know why?
It's daunting.
Do you know why I think that's doing as well, if not better than the book, as a comic? It's podcasts as well. Like, people are listening to comics so much more often now in the car.
Yeah, it's
So you
long
can-
form. Long form's
Yeah.
the way. It's also that thing of like you just go. It's. I remember stuff more when I listen to stuff. I just remember everything.
Yeah, it was. I think that's definitely what's happening. And if I ever write a book, let's just not even finish that thought.
Yeah.
Can I read it?
If you ever finish colouring in a book, let's manage our expectations, shall we?
It'll be available on audiobook.
It's going to be called a
There's
good
a red
dick.
bit,
Yellow.
a blue bit.
A really good dickin' by Adam Rowe.
You'll have written one more than you've read.
I nearly finished Jamie Carragher's autobiography.
Yes! Yes! The most Scouse thing that's been said today.
We've all had a drink.
Fucking hell.
Jimmy, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for coming in.
I thank you guys.
Merch at HAWawayPod.com. Extra episodes at patreon.com/HAWawayPod. I'm on tour, adamrowe.co.uk/shows. He's on tour, dannightingale.com. And Jimmy's got a book out. Go and get everything right now.
Oh, and it's worth mentioning, Patreon is basically fucking begging.
Yeah, but we beg really well.
Yeah. And unlike most beggars, we give you something for the money. You know? Not all homeless people are singing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay, and we've got a dog. Shut up, Finn.